David Walker, a 35-year-old software engineer, lived with his wife Emily and their two young children in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Texas. Their home was nothing extraordinary, but it always provided a sense of safety and warmth for the family. However, everything changed when strange noises began to echo through the house at night. Being a cautious and meticulous man, David double-checked all the doors and windows every evening, yet he couldn't find the source of the noise. Concerned for his family's safety, David decided to install security cameras to monitor key areas of the house. At first, everything seemed normal until one morning when he reviewed the footage. What he saw made his blood run cold. An eerie old woman, dressed in tattered clothes, silently moving around the dining room in the middle of the night. The most terrifying part was that she had been appearing in the house for several nights, completely unnoticed by the family. One night, as David went to the kitchen to get a glass of water, he was startled to find the old woman standing by the kitchen door. She lunged at him with unnerving strength, knocking him to the ground. In the midst of the chaos, Emily woke up and discovered the old woman cradling Noah, their 1-year-old son, in the bedroom. Driven by maternal instinct, Emily charged at the woman and managed to wrestle her child free. In a desperate struggle, David and Emily joined forces and pushed the old woman out of the window. When the police arrived, they uncovered a horrifying truth. The woman was a mentally ill patient who had escaped from a nearby institution and had been hiding in the Walker's basement for weeks. Although the Walker family was finally safe, the haunting presence of the old woman lingered in their minds, leaving them forever haunted by the terrifying ordeal. After the terrifying events involving the eerie old woman, the Walker family decided to move to a new home in another suburban neighborhood of Texas to regain their peace. However, the haunting memories continued to linger, causing David and Emily to suffer from sleepless nights. While David tried to immerse himself in work to distract his mind, Sophia Martinez, Emily's 21-year-old cousin, moved in with them to help care for the two children and support the family through their emotional recovery. Sophia, a junior at the University of Houston, was bright, friendly, but sometimes a little too trusting. To help her unwind after the stressful transition, her boyfriend, Ethan James, invited her to dinner at a fancy Italian restaurant. The evening was perfect, and when Ethan suggested taking her to the most romantic place in town, Sophia eagerly agreed without a second thought. But instead of taking her to a picturesque spot, Ethan led her to an abandoned cemetery far from the residential area. As they entered the cemetery, a chilling sense of unease crept over Sophia. Surrounded by darkness and decaying tombstones, she felt an inexplicable fear gnawing at her. She insisted on going back, but Ethan's demeanor suddenly changed. He became strange and unpredictable. Fear surged through Sophia's veins, prompting her to turn and run. While trying to escape, Sophia encountered a strange man standing at the edge of the cemetery. Believing he might help her, she made a grave mistake. The man lured her deeper into the cemetery with sinister intentions. Just when Sophia was on the brink of danger, Ethan suddenly reappeared and overpowered the predator, saving Sophia from a tragic fate. That night, in a desperate attempt to erase all evidence, Ethan and Sophia buried the man's body deep within the cemetery. Although Sophia was physically safe, the darkness of the cemetery and the horrors of that night continued to haunt her. Much like how the eerie presence of the old woman still haunted the Walker family, the shadows of the past refused to fade, leaving both families trapped in an endless cycle of fear and paranoia. After the horrifying incident at the cemetery, Sophia Martinez gradually withdrew from social life. Although Ethan did everything he could to protect and keep her safe, the memories of that terrifying night continued to haunt her. In an attempt to move on, Sophia decided to return to school and focus on her studies. Meanwhile, the Walker family was also trying to rebuild their lives after the unsettling events of the past. Yet, the shadow of their traumatic experiences still lingered over them, refusing to let go. Around the same time, Jacob Harris, Ethan's 28-year-old cousin, moved to Texas to start a new job at an old warehouse on the outskirts of Dallas. Jacob was a quiet, reserved man who preferred solitude and silence. Working the night shift alone in a massive, empty warehouse seemed like the perfect escape for him, a way to find peace and stay away from trouble. But what Jacob didn't realize was that the darkness of the warehouse concealed something far more sinister. The first few nights were uneventful, and Jacob began to settle into his routine. However, things took a disturbing turn when strange noises began echoing from the far corners of the warehouse. At first, Jacob dismissed them as rats or the natural creaking of the building's old structure. But his unease grew when he caught glimpses of a small figure darting between the shelves. One night, while making his usual rounds, Jacob came face to face with a strange little boy who looked about 8 years old. The boy's unnervingly large eyes and twisted smile sent chills down Jacob's spine. Before Jacob could react, the boy grabbed a metal pipe and charged at him with unnatural speed. Jacob instinctively backed away, trying to escape, but the boy moved faster than any normal human could. The sound of the metal pipe crashing against the shelves echoed throughout the warehouse, amplifying Jacob's terror. Desperate to get away, Jacob ran toward the emergency exit, only to find it locked from the outside. As he turned around, a chilling, high-pitched voice echoed behind him. "You can't find me." Jacob's panic peaked as he saw the boy reappear, that sinister smile still plastered on his face. In sheer desperation, Jacob grabbed a metal rod and fought back, knocking the boy to the ground. But when the police arrived after Jacob's frantic call, there was no trace of the boy. The security footage showed nothing, just Jacob running aimlessly through the warehouse, as if he were fleeing from an invisible entity. Jacob quit his job immediately after the incident, but the haunting voice of the boy still echoed in his mind every night. "You can't escape." Jacob's lingering fear was more than just paranoia. It was a warning that the horrors from the cemetery and the Walker family's house were far from over. After the bizarre incident at the warehouse in Dallas, Jacob Harris never returned to working night shifts again. The haunting image of the eerie boy tormented him, causing endless sleepless nights. Even after moving to another city in an attempt to leave it all behind, the chilling whisper of the boy echoed in his mind every night. "You can't escape." At the same time, Lily Johnson, a 17-year-old girl living in the quiet suburbs of Austin, Texas, began experiencing disturbing nightmares. She lived with her parents and younger brother, Dylan, in a small, peaceful home. However, everything changed after sinister rumors spread about a series of mysterious break-ins in the nearby neighborhoods. These intruders weren't just stealing valuables. They were attacking families and leaving behind strange symbols carved into the walls, symbols resembling ancient runes. One night, while her parents and Dylan went to a company party, Lily stayed home alone to finish her school project. The house felt unusually cold, and an uneasy silence settled around her. As she prepared to take a shower to shake off the eerie feeling, a knock echoed from the front door. Assuming her parents had returned early, Lily rushed to open the door, but no one was there. She stood motionless for a moment, feeling a chilling breeze drift into the house, sending shivers down her spine. As she turned back inside, faint footsteps echoed from the second floor. Lily froze, her heart pounding wildly, a sense of being watched growing stronger. Fighting back her fear, she grabbed the fireplace poker as a weapon and slowly climbed the stairs. As she approached Dylan's room, the footsteps stopped. The door creaked open slightly, as if someone was waiting for her to enter. When her hand touched the doorknob, a cold, clammy hand suddenly grabbed her wrist from behind. Lily screamed, turning around to see a strange man standing there, his eyes void of emotion and his smile chillingly sinister. In a low, raspy voice, he whispered, "You shouldn't be home alone." Lily reacted instinctively, swinging the fireplace poker at him with all her strength. But the intruder dodged unnervingly fast. He lunged at her with unnatural strength, pinning her against the wall. Desperation surged through Lily's veins as she swung again, this time striking his head, sending him crashing to the floor. But just as she began to back away, she realized with horror that he was still smiling, his cold, lifeless eyes fixed on her. At that moment, her parents returned. They found Lily trembling next to the bloodied intruder lying on the floor. But what horrified them even more was the same rune symbols carved into Dylan's wall. The exact same symbols from the previous break-ins. The intruder was quickly arrested, but before being taken away by the police, he turned to Lily and whispered softly, "I was only the beginning. The real terror hasn't even begun yet." His chilling words echoed in Lily's mind, leaving behind a deep, lingering fear, a haunting certainty that something far darker was still lurking, waiting to emerge from the shadows. After the horrifying break-in and the discovery of the strange rune symbols carved into Dylan's wall, the Johnson family tried to return to a normal life. However, Lily couldn't shake the chilling words of the intruder from her mind. I was only the beginning. The real terror hasn't even begun yet. Although they hoped the nightmare was over, darkness continued to creep around the Johnson household. Strange and unsettling events began occurring. Dylan often woke up in the middle of the night, claiming that he heard whispers coming from the walls in his room. Meanwhile, Lily constantly felt an icy gaze watching her every time she left the house. Not long after, Mason Cooper, a distant relative of the Johnson family, moved in to help after the traumatic events. Mason was a 10-year-old boy, quiet and shy, but he quickly bonded with Dylan. However, Dylan's behavior started to change after Mason's arrival. He became withdrawn, spoke less, and often whispered to someone unseen in the corners of his room. His once lively demeanor was replaced by a chilling silence that left Lily deeply unsettled. Lily's unease escalated when she noticed a strange man frequently lurking near their home. He was Mr. Smith, an elderly man who lived at the end of the street. His cold, piercing gaze and twisted smile sent shivers down Lily's spine. Her parents mentioned that Mr. Smith had lived there for years and was the subject of disturbing rumors involving suspicious behavior toward children in the past. One night, Lily was jolted awake by the sound of Dylan whispering Mr. Smith's name in his sleep. Her blood ran cold as she realized that the true nightmare was only beginning. Determined to protect her family, Lily began digging into Mr. Smith's past and unearthed a horrifying truth. Mr. Smith was far more than just an eccentric neighbor. He was a predator who had been hiding in plain sight, with sinister plans for Dylan and Mason. What Lily was about to uncover would push her and her family to the brink of terror, a place where true darkness still lurked, silently waiting to emerge.